Kamusta and congratulations, you've made it. You have just tuned in to the dopest podcast in the universe. Behind This Beat is a show where we take flight and connect with Filipino creatives locally and abroad, representing the land of 1,000 islands, the Philippines. Let's get the show started and give it up for our hosts, Fat Boy Lim and Boy Graduate. This is Behind This Beat.
Yes, thank God.
Yo,
Friday. It is once again behind this beat. And yeah, you
yes,
probably are so used to our face now every Friday because
of
this is
course.
our 13th episode already. But yeah, my name is Fat Boy Lim.
And this is Boy Graduate. Welcome to the show. Like Fat Boy Lim here has said, it's another Friday, another reason to thank God to be alive because we are searching the globe for the biggest and most powerful Filipino talent in the world. And we're glad to be bringing it to you. Hope you guys have been having
Yeah.
a good week and thanks for tuning in.
And always do subscribe to our podcast. You can find it everywhere. Just go to at Beat This PH on all socials, and you can find all the info there. But then we are everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all the podcast platforms
Teaser.
out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone, man. Like, cause like I think we're like number one right now on Spotify
Okay.
viral.
Yep.
chart.
Yeah, well, of course.
That's
After
fun.
last week's episode with Sarah and all the other ones before that, we've just been building up and we'll probably stay there. So, yeah, welcoming all our new listeners who are joining from finding us on there. Well,
They're looking at the podcast app now and like they're not number one. What are they talking about? Like,
yeah, there's Joe
I-
Rogan, there's Michelle Obama's podcast, and then there's us, I'm pretty sure. So maybe number 3.
yeah. So again, thank you for being here. Of course, it is always a pleasure to have to do this show because we learn a lot from actually doing the show. Not only just learning about or discovering about music, but learning actually our brothers and sisters outside the Philippines, and knowing more about them. And today we have a special guest that actually it's so special because I know she is close to your area too, right?
Yeah, close to my area and also a close friend. We've been friends for I don't know, 5 years now. And yeah, she's
Yeah.
a dear friend of mine and I don't know, do you want to take the ranks or do you want me to do the introduction?
Now I want you to do the introduction, man, because I got a lot of questions as well. Let's do this.
Okay. Let's do
For
this.
today,
Yeah, the guest for today is none other than Sydney-based R&B singer-songwriter Lara Andallo. Welcome her to the show. How you doing, sis? Where you at? Yo,
Yeah.
yo.
Hey,
Very
girl.
hype. Kumusta?
I'm good. What's happening? How are you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
So if for the listeners and the ones watching right now, we're actually in 3 different areas, although they're in the same, I guess, country.
Yeah.
But I'm in Cebu right now in the Philippines, in the I guess the south side of the Philippines, and Boy Graduate here is in Melbourne, and Lara and Dallas in Sydney, right?
Sydney, yeah.
So
Sid City.
where are you at right now? Like you just where in Sydney are you?
I'm in Leichhardt, so that's kind of the inner west of Sydney, I guess you could say.
And so how's it been? How's it been with you on this whole lockdown period?
Pandemic. I mean, Boy Graduate's probably had it worse than me over in Sydney. Melbourne just got out of their lockdown. They were locked down for almost half the year, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's better in your area now, there, Lara,
Yeah.
right?
I think we got out of lockdown a long time ago, like a few months back now. So yeah, it's been like 3 months or so. And even then, like we didn't have a curfew like Melbourne did. So I don't think it actually hit Sydney as hard as it did over in
No.
Melbourne.
And
So
Alex, you got to remember as well, we've got to wear masks in our state. So Lara doesn't have to wear masks. She probably doesn't. Probably hasn't worn a mask all year.
I wore a mask in the Uber once or twice, but besides that, Yeah, no, not really. So you used to have to wear masks like going around the city.
Yeah, it honestly is. It's like a habit. You just always
Mm,
have your mask on you, like in your pocket, and when you don't wear one, you can feel it, like because
yeah,
you
that's
just so used to
crazy.
it sitting there. Even at work, like you have to wear it,
Mm,
even if you're indoors. Like it's
that's
just
crazy.
law. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Um,
then yeah, I should have known that you guys were doing okay there because I know you announced like a big event, and I was like surprised. Okay, so they can do events now there. So
Yeah, well, it's
yeah,
insane because last week, I think that was 2 weeks ago, I watched Kwame, who's like a local Australian rapper, at the Lansdowne, which is where my show is next month. But that was my first live music, yeah, witnessing
experience,
live music
witnessing,
since March,
yeah,
since before
yeah,
before the whole pandemic, I guess, started. And it was crazy to see just such an intimate audience. Like there was probably the capacity was 50. And he had to do multiple shows just because of the capacity of, the social distancing between tables and people. So it was interesting to see how like people perform now and like especially for me, like with approaching that show that I do have next month and my show being quite like full of energy. There's dancers involved, so we kind of thrive off the energy that the audience
hmm.
gives us. I bet you can relate, like boy
Oh yeah.
graduate, like.
yeah. So how is that like? Like, I mean, like, are you gonna be wearing mask on stage or no? Does it happen? Like,
I mean,
Full
most
jumpsuit.
I have to do that. But in Sydney, first week, like even in the audience, I was personally not wearing a mask, and I don't think it was. Yeah, in Sydney, there's no um rules, I guess, and there's no
Yeah.
yeah, there's no rules really about it besides the social distancing.
okay. So like, what is this venue of yours capacity wise? How big is the venue
It's
for
called
your event?
the Lansdowne, and usually it's probably around 300 is the capacity there. But now it's just 50 capacity, and it's seated. When usually it's not a seated venue. So I've got two shows at the moment there, back to back, an early show and a late show, just because we can't actually have more people in the audience. So that's another interesting thing of like having to do more shows as well because of the capacity. Yeah.
Kind of looks good though. But I guess everyone knows why it's two shows.
We like sell out 8 shows.
Yeah, two sold out shows just got off on. Yeah. Did you feel at Kwame, like shout out Kwame? I love Kwame. Did you feel like the audience was more engaged because we've been neglected of not live shows all year? Like we, of
Yeah,
course, there's been Zoom ones and stuff, but it's not the
yeah,
same. And he puts on like an incredible show. I've seen him in Melbourne a few times, and
yeah,
like that dude is on a level. How do you
yeah.
feel the audience reacted?
I think you're right on it when you say that because especially for me, that's my first time seeing live music as well. So I had that same experience. And because for him it was a new project as well, I think
Mhm.
everyone in the audience was interested to see how that translated as well, because we're not used to seeing him in smaller venues for a minute.
Yeah,
He's been playing pretty big places.
big
So I
places.
think especially for me, it was really cool to see an artist like him at that kind of level, but doing a smaller show and actually getting to see, without, the smoke and mirrors, like really having that intimate performance. And like even the audience can't dance and stand up. So the audience isn't even distracted. Like the audience is like on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
almost a good thing for the MC as well. If you're not a good MC, like you can't get them to move. You don't have to try and say get up and dance. Like oh, you guys are just sitting down. Like
Everyone's like, I've seen it. Do you know the venue, the Vanguard in Sydney? Have you heard of
no,
it? So basically, I've seen other people playing there, and like people start to stand up, and you see like all the staff being like, "You can't do that."
oh,
That would be such a joy kill.
that would be
So
sad.
Man. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I'm sorry if I've been I'm asking you this right away, but like I'm just trying to figure out the dynamics of it. Like does that change the style of presentation you're gonna do?
yeah.
Since like, I'm sure this is not your first time to do like performances, right? So like, what are the big changes now? Like for you, like
that's the one thing is like I guess for my kind of show I have to approach it differently because we obviously don't have an audience that can interact in the same way and give back the same energy that we usually hope to. For me, when I'm performing, I like the exchange of energy. Like I thrive off whatever the audience is giving, even if I'm still giving 100. Like it's always good to feel that energy back. So for me, I guess with I'm still going out with dancers and I'm still dancing, so I'm still giving the full show. But I think it'll just be about pulling back those moments so that I guess it still feels in context of the audience. Because
Yeah. True.
and they can't do anything to
Well, at least that's the closest thing to being back to normal, I guess. But yeah, I
totally.
mean, rather than still being stuck at the house and just not doing like shows, right?
Even
But
with
yeah,
that,
yeah. So, anyways, like we want to talk more to you about like probably let's start with like how you started in the let's just say scene first and then the industry later. So, but like, how was it growing up, like going into music, and like what was the sort of like at what age are you like started to get serious out of this singing and doing your thing?
yeah. Well, I've always been a very musical. I mean, it's literally like the Filipino heritage of it. Like I've always been in karaoke. Like when I was younger, 80s karaoke, like always whipped out like the Celine Dion, like
Of course.
like how it is with karaoke. Like I don't even have to explain. But then I guess I started with classical and jazz in terms of instruments. That's how I got my intro into music. So I played violin for 10 years. I started when I was 3, and then I added saxophone, drums, guitar, and piano onto that. And that's kind of where the music side started for me. But it was when I was 11 when I started doing dance, is when I started listening to hip hop and R&B and like actually realizing what those genres were. Like I would always just listen to the radio, but when I started training in hip hop and all these other genres of dance, I was like, oh, so that's the music that I like moving to and like dancing to. Like, what is that genre of music? So that's when the connect happened for me in terms of the genre of music that I guess I resonate as a songwriter, as an artist. But at the time, for me, it was just like, oh, cool. Like I like R&B or I like hip hop music. And at that time, I was still very much in the mindset of like I wanted to be a dancer. Because dance was kind of the first place that I found my confidence as a performer. I was a shy kid growing up, and I was textbook Asian. Like I was in the robotics club, top chess team. Like
What?
yeah, I was like full before I got into dancing. I was like full blown book nerd. I was like so shy, and that's literally like dance was the only reason why I found like that confidence outside of just like being book smart, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's when I really dance is where I found that confidence as an artist, and it was actually through that I felt the confidence to go into music, because I did like classical and jazz in the background with musical instruments, but obviously that's more rigid training. Like I wasn't writing my own music, but it was from that looseness and like the confidence from dance that I could integrate that together. And I was like, okay, like I've never been able to like write classical or jazz music, because like in those genres you're given the music and you play it.
The sheet
Whereas
music, yeah.
And then with dance, because I had that confidence and like learning mainly through freestyle at the start, it was like, why can't I write the music that I dance to? And that's what happened for me. Probably around, how old was I when I started writing on guitar? Like I reckon it wouldn't have been R&B. It was more like and just self-expression at the time when I was probably 11 or 12, but it became more R&B focused or like artist focused at like 16, I guess. Yeah, 16.
Okay, right. How was what was your first experience in like music writing? Like what was your like did of course you have the ones that you released, but was there any releases prior to all the formal releases that was like, oh, and I know some would not want to go back there because they probably compare like how, but like, what was your sort of serious way of like doing things now? Like you have any releases before that?
I've definitely had a few releases before that. When I was 16 is when I started, I guess, going into a studio. Even then, it was a home studio. Like, I still work out of a home studio. I think most people do these days, especially over in Australia. But it was actually in Melbourne with this guy called Arik, and he was kind of the first producer that I started working with when I was 16. And I was still writing all the music at home. Like, I would start writing the music at home on the piano or guitar. And he was like one of the only producers that I knew at the time. And my vocal coach at the time was friends with him. And that's how I connected with him. And that's kind of how I guess, entered into the scene of like meeting producers and other songwriters. Because at the time I had no idea of that world. I was more in the dance scene, I guess you could say, and I wrote music on the side, but I was never confident enough to be like, oh, I'm a singer as well. Like, I want to be a singer. I was always hiding, I guess, behind the dancing. But yeah, it was when I was 16 when I started really diving into what I wanted to do as an artist, I guess. And even at that point, because I was just starting to go into studios and meeting other people, that's when I started exploring. I had a few, like probably 8 songs that I released.
There's one I like, and you know that I like it, and you told me you were re-releasing it when you signed to Warner, and you never did.
You Ain't Sorry.
You Ain't Sorry, man.
I
Where
still
is that
perform that
song?
in my live show, so I definitely still keep that in there.
Is it around?
It's on SoundCloud. Yeah, I've still got 3 of those tracks, the last 3 that I released before signing with Warner on SoundCloud for sure, because those were kind of the ones that got me that industry attention, I guess. That was kind of where that whole industry presence started.
Man, you could still release You Ain't Sorry and that would still be a hit, I reckon. That's what I'm like. I love that song. Was on repeat for me in 2017, 2016?
Yeah, 2017. Yeah. Appreciate it, bro.
That was probably 2 years before the official release that you have, right? Which is the first release you have was a track called Confidential, right?
Yeah, that was I think just over a year ago now. Yeah.
Yeah. So how was that? How was that journey for you from being like the SoundCloud artist, your initial thing, and then now tell us a bit story. How was Confidential part of Warner already? Like, is that like the first release you have under a major?
Yeah. So that was definitely like my, I guess, debut single in terms of my relationship with Warner, and this whole new the whole mixtape that I just released. So that was the debut single, one of the lead singles from that mixtape. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you could tell us, like, because if you're telling me 2017, you guys were talking right now for SoundCloud, like, and I think it went over a year. Then 2019 came in, and what was the
process?
Story? It's the story there, how you got like discovered by Warner, you know?
Yeah. So it was actually from that track that Boy Grad was talking about, You Ain't Sorry. I think it was actually someone that me and Boy Grad know. Fitzy was the one who was telling me to put it on Unearthed High. And at the time, I didn't really know. So Unearthed High over here in Australia is basically like this platform for high school students who, you'd assume are mostly independent. And it's this platform that it's kind of a government-owned radio station, I guess.
It's through Triple J. Alex knows about Triple J, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Triple J. So it's like they have a Triple J Unearthed High, which is for independent high school artists, I guess, and that's where you could submit your music as a high school student to go into this like competition to win Unearthed High, where they get to play your music on Triple J, and you there's different prizes, I guess, for coming third, second, first, I guess. But that was my intro into, I guess, Triple J. And You Ain't Sorry, that song that's still on SoundCloud, got played on Unearthed High, on Triple J Unearthed, and then got played on Triple J on the same night, which was super hectic for me because at the time I didn't know what either of those things meant, like being added or being played on Triple J. I didn't know what those things meant because I was so new to the industry, as well as just knowing what Triple J was. So that's kind of when those conversations started happening for me with other labels and publishers and managers through the radio attention, I guess, and FBI radio over here as well, which is another local station, premiered You Ain't Sorry as well. So I think it was mainly from that radio presence and just Complex Australia at the time was just supporting those tracks that I was releasing independently. Again, I didn't know what that actually meant.
Yeah.
I was just super happy to see that that was happening, but I'm still unmanaged, so I've been doing everything myself since I was 16. So even throughout that, I was, the one emailing blogs, and I was the one emailing radio stations for premieres. So all those things, I thought, I guess I approached them all myself, so I didn't really know what they meant. Like they didn't just like arrive, at,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
so like those things I slowly understood as the conversations kept building with like other labels and agents and publishers, like what those, I guess, milestones meant. And then that's when, I started taking those conversations a bit more seriously with those other labels and seeing what opportunities would come out of it. And I guess within that time of signing with Warner, probably a year before I released anything, before Confidential, I was just going, doing heaps of writing sessions, I guess, because back then, even then, I didn't know a lot of producers or writers. I was doing everything myself up until that point, really. So it was kind of my way of getting into the scene and just finding new producers, writers, or just other people to collaborate with. I guess that's what I took that year to do. And I was freshly 18 at the time. I'm 20 now, but I was 18 at the time. So I just graduated high school. I just had an ankle surgery, which we can talk about at some point as well if you want. But that was just a whole new chapter for me, I guess. And I just took that time to really work on my craft, I guess, before I did debut with Confidential and the mixtape and the music that I'm releasing now.
Did you feel
Wow.
impatient? Or were you, yeah.
So like even when those label conversations happened, like I was like, I want to release a mixtape this year. Like
Yeah.
that was like 2018 when I was saying that. So I guess that came from also, how major labels have a lot more of a process that things have to go into compared to with me. I'd finish a track in my room, get it mixed and mastered in like a week or two,
send
and
it out.
then like throw it up on SoundCloud. It's super chill.
Yeah.
For me, even like not having a manager throughout that, and then like also going into major label world, I didn't know the differences, I guess, as well. I assumed there would be differences, but like I learned that along the way of like how things work with this like bigger machine
Yeah.
that are major labels compared to releasing music independently.
Yeah, so let's listen to a clip of Confidential right now, so that people will know what Lara and Andallo is talking about, and talk more to Lara in a bit. So yes, you're still listening and watching Behind This Beat.
I can say it ain't my fault that I'm feeling this way right about now. I don't wanna go out tonight just to fill my cup for empty hollows. Staying in on a Friday night, cause I don't roll like that, don't give it up, I won't. Every day, wanna visit me, I just want someone that...
Yes, that was Confidential, of course, from Lara and Andallo. You can find that all on all streaming apps. It's actually out, 2019 release. Yeah, so we're still here with Lara and Andallo. Like, wow, it's amazing to find out that you're definitely there was a lot of hard work put in the things that you've been doing. So I guess like you're one of those artists that like basically deserve this thing now with the label, because like I think with enough amount of hard work, I mean you're now seeing the sort of like harvesting of what that hard work is all about, right? So let's talk about like a bit here. I guess like because everyone here knows that we really promote Filipino global in a sense. Like, what was your take on like starting to find out that there was like a connection now in the Philippines? Because I know right now, I think Warner's also trying to push you here in the Philippines, and maybe you can tell a story about like maybe just like Philippines. Was there any instances where you wanted to do music here? You know?
Yeah, well, like you mentioned, I've definitely from the start, I was working with this producer, songwriter, and artist. You guys actually probably maybe have done an episode with him, but August Rigo over in LA, he was one of the, yeah.
Oh.
So when he came to Australia, like I'm very much someone who like I always ask for things. Like I'm not afraid to ask for things. Basically, like the worst thing that someone can say is no. So for me, when I was 16, I think I actually hit up August on Facebook, and for some reason we were friends. And I'm sure I probably sent a friend request because, like, why else would we be friends on Facebook?
Yeah.
But I legit just like DM Facebook messaged him, just being like, hey, if you're ever in Australia, like I'd love to whatever. Like I just reach out to people that I'm inspired by or feel like there'd be some kind of potential collaboration or anything from it, I guess. And it just so happened that he was coming to Sydney in like 2 weeks
Man.
from that I messaged him, and we ended up having dinner with him and like with my parents as well when he was here and that dinner went for like 5 hours. Like and it was really cool for me. Like that was kind of the first person that I noticed, like being a Filipino and then also being from the US, like seeing that connect of because I feel like in Australia I hadn't seen that personally, like having a person who was Filipino who was doing it, especially at that kind of level. For me, hearing his stories as well about being a Filipino in the US and him being an artist himself and what he went through as a Filipino artist in the US. I was really listening to those stories, and I could obviously relate to a lot of that, just like growing up in Australia and being, looking different to other people. So just like that was my first connection in terms of seeing how like global, like the Filipino community can be within the music industry. Because he was telling me that there are a lot of them over there in the US too, and I hadn't at the time been to LA yet for music, so I didn't know what the scene was like and what kind of Filipino representation was like over there.
Yeah, it's
So that
actually it's the second time now I've like in this like guessing that I heard his name, and I've been listening to him prior, but young JV worked with August Rigo as well. Like the last time I talked to him, and yeah, man, like shout out to that guy. Maybe one of these days we got to interview him and
Yeah, we need
put
to
him
get him
here.
on.
Man.
Yeah, because with him, like I know at the time when I spoke to him, I don't know how long ago that was now. Maybe that was actually just before I signed with Warner, because at the time I don't think yeah, because I remember we had this conversation when I went to LA in 2018, and it was kind of a full circle thing because when we did have dinner and we were talking about working, like when I went to LA is like I signed the deal, like that was the reason that I was over there, and it was like kind of a full circle moment for us as well, because he just already believed in me before, for some people it takes like, oh, okay, they're signed, now I can,
Hang out with them.
I want to work with them. Do you know what I mean? You guys
Yeah.
know what I mean. So like for him to see that before, as someone from the US who usually, I'm like an independent artist from Australia, like why would he have to spend his time on me? So just for him to see that, believe in me, and then for me to have that label backing, and then he still be there, like it was kind of a full circle moment for me with him, which is cool.
Awesome. I mean, wow, there's a lot of great stories that now we know about Lara. And you mentioned that one time that's one of the connections that you got for like, I guess the closest connection you have for Filipino in the music industry. But like you mentioned to me that you went to the Philippines as well. And like, was there anything that you did here musically, or was it all vacation? Like,
It was mainly for family and holidays. Like I did like some little shows over in like my dad's hometown in Ilocos, but besides that, it's been mainly for family. I definitely want to go back, once the pandemic is kind of settled down.
Mm.
Even like internally, as you mentioned, Alex, is like, um, with the label, like I've been also pushing for like that Filipino sport, which I actually noticed like Warner Music Philippines was showing a bit of love on social media, which is cool to see. Them supporting like, a Filipino from Australia as well. For me, that was really cool to see.
Yeah, it's amazing the connection that we brought in, because that wasn't quite what was used to be in even with
Yeah,
Warner. I think partly because of what we did for Beat This, and we connected first through Cam, and Cam was telling me like, Boy Graduate was telling me, hey man, I have a friend who's actually in Warner, Australia. And it's like,
Yeah.
so when you mentioned to me that, I was like, what are the possibilities for us
yeah,
connecting? Like I'm with Warner Philippines, there's like, so then that's really how it all started. And I was before we even got to talking, I was just listening to your stuff, and like I even referred you to DJ Marlino's show Heavy Rotation, and yeah, it was just like a continuous thing. And now you're really seeing that there's just an amazing movement that's happening. Like
yeah,
uh, I mean, not to also to note the recent Disney. Did you see that the Disney
yeah,
Yeah,
with the
the
Filipino
Christmas
Christmas?
thing.
yeah.
There's something
So
happening now globally. It's just that it's just starting to build up. So it's amazing to listen to your story with even August Rigo. And yeah, I think he's a very supportive guy for like like in
it
music. Like,
sounds like it, especially if you guys have had stories as well on the show, which is I love to hear that, because
Yeah.
August was also someone who was pushing for me to focus on the market in the Philippines as well, because for him at the time, I know he was working with Brian Puspos, who I looked up to as a dancer growing up, and then I
yeah,
saw him transitioning into music. And August was very focused on building his fan base within like the Filipino community as well, and tapping into that, which is where I saw that potential as well, I guess. And he was pushing me to focus on that on the Filipino market as well, because like
Mm.
that, yeah, that's really the people who are going to champion you in the end. Yeah,
Yeah,
so did you?
I guess back then the hard thing is though, where's the connect? Like
yeah,
even going there and seeing your family, this is a thing we repeat every episode. Like everyone goes there, but once they're there, it's like
yeah,
like who do I talk to? I
exactly.
was fortunate enough to meet Alex. I did similar to you. I just emailed Alex my new
Yeah,
EP.
there you go.
And I was at a show, and the guy who organized the show said, "Oh, email this guy." I didn't even know Alex was with Warner. I was just like, "Oh, okay." I was just like, "Hey, here's my EP," and Alex replied like, "Who are you, dude? Who are
Uh,
you? How'd you get my contact?"
I love
I,
that.
remember, I actually remember that. I was like, who's this guy? Like, so I was like, hey man, like how'd you get my? To correct you on that one, I remember I wasn't with Warner that time. I was still an independent, I was in, Magic on
Mm,
radio station.
yeah,
So
that's right.
I had a show before, which is BS was the show on radio where we promote like like all these kind of music, right? Locally, and then he just sent me the thing, and I was like, okay, like. Yeah, let me see if like this is not one of those stalkers or something. I'm just kidding. But yeah,
Scam.
but,
Truth comes out.
but it was a such.
Oh, did he just pause?
I
Uh,
think.
I would never think that we would be doing something like this now. Like, like it came a
Mm,
long way, right? Like even with us going to Manila doing events, I've been friends now with Boy Graduate for I think a year already, like
yeah,
almost, right? Yeah. So yeah,
a
I
year for
mean,
sure.
so did August Rigo make a song with you or just mentored you?
Oh, we definitely did like some sessions over there. Those songs have not come out yet, but we definitely did work together. And I was actually planning to go back to LA in April this year to work on kind of, I guess what would have been my next project. And with COVID, I guess plans changed around a bit. But I was definitely going back there, and I would have worked with him again at that point
Oh
too.
man, that's so amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah, be like one of the bucket list to have August
and,
Review at our show.
and even talking about other Filipino collaborations. I mean, this is jumping forward a bit, but feels right. With my latest single, On My Mind, that was my first music video, and it was really cool for me to have my choreographer, who is Filipino as well, and the lead male in that video was also Filipino. So for me, that was really cool because growing up, I didn't see Filipino choreographers locally here or in the States really being championed. I also never really saw, even just the female male in a music video both being Filipino, or even just one being Filipino. So for me, it was really cool to actually do that myself. I didn't even mean to do that intentionally, but just to see that come to light, I was like, this is really cool for the Filipino community too. I guess I subconsciously probably did that too.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see the final product, to see, that team of Filipinos, I guess. Even some of the extras are Filipino.
They're everywhere, man. I swear to God. Like, where are you at? Like, everyone should be watching this show and pushing this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
man, it's crazy.
Yeah, actually, we're gonna talk to Lara more about some more about her career. Let's look at this one song that she actually released around still 2019. It's a track called Trophy. You got anything a highlight for this track before I play it?
I think that actually came out January this year. So that was the last single off my mixtape release, which for me was one of my favorites off the mixtape, and it got a lot of radio love for me locally, which was cool to see. Yeah.
All right, let's check this out. This one is Trophy by Lara Andallo, and we'll be right back after this.
You know that I can't control my love. Can't control my love. Even though I know you ain't the one. Hold me like a trophy. Never let me slowly. We don't even talk, nah. Give me where you only time you for me. But don't even front, nah. We both know how this shit goes. But the way you put me close, yeah, I seen this.
Yes, that was a Trophy again, Lara Andallo, and of course you're still here on Behind This Beat. Make sure to follow us on all our socials at Beat This PH, and we're all on every podcast platform out there. Now, I remember, I remember this song because this was the song that you sent me, Cam, when you introduced me to Lara. It's like
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. This was the track with Alex, yeah.
Yeah, so when I listened to it, I was like, wow, like, yeah, definitely, I'm gonna invest more time in like figuring out like who Lara is. So. Who you are, and then and yeah, that's why we're here now, I guess, right? Yeah. So when was the last time you came to the Philippines? Like,
It was actually
like,
probably exactly a year ago today, because I remember we were talking about like a Facebook memory that happened. So I was there, a year ago in Cebu and Manila.
What?
Oh my!
This time last year?
Yeah.
We weren't
Were
we
you
in
there at
Manila?
that time?
Yeah, I was living there.
I was there for 4 days though, but I didn't know that.
How did I not know that? Oh,
I
that's
definitely
crazy.
posted about it too. So
That's rattled me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you knew, we could have brought Lara to one of those shows, right?
Yeah, because we're doing like a run of shows then.
At that time as well.
Yeah. I remember because I'm looking at it right now. It's like it's November 15. And our Beat This Alliance event happened in Trademark on last year.
Yeah. November 15th. And then
November 15th. Yeah. So amazing.
crazy.
Yeah. So was it were you always going to, because you're from Ilocos, right? You were saying?
My mom's from Rizal, if I'm correct. So
Okay. That's
Not so confident there.
but my dad is from Ilocos, yeah.
Okay, so more from the Luzon. So you visited Cebu for more of vacation time, right? Like, or you have relatives here? Or,
I think that was more for vacation, and then we went back to Manila. I actually had to join in. The rest of my family was there. I think 2 or 3 weeks. Me and I was still shooting some stuff over here.
so yeah.
I was only over there for like less than a week. I'm pretty sure because I had to join later and come back.
Where did you go? Where did you go in Cebu? If you don't mind me asking, like
I
where did
don't
you
think
go?
I even really went anywhere, to be honest, because all I did was we were there for 3 nights, and I don't think I really left wherever we were staying, to be honest. Like I didn't
Do
get
you
to go.
remember where you were staying?
No.
Did you go to? I've got so many questions for you after we get off the chat. Like, one, why didn't you message me?
I didn't even know you were living there.
That's crazy. Oh man, I was living in such a nice place as well. Like I could have shown Tita and Tita. Like could have had you guys up for dinner. Damn.
That would have been so good
Next time.
when you're living
So yeah,
there.
that's so cool. Moving towards your, like your career. Was there anything that would be like one of the sort of highlights that you have being now with Warner? Like maybe just give us a few highlights of what you
Yeah.
have now.
I mean, this year for me, I guess, is where I've started to see, I guess, the fruits of my labor. So it was really cool to see, for example, in probably February, I hit like my first million streams for that mixtape that came out on the 31st of Jan. So it only took a few weeks before the whole mixtape got to 1 million streams, which for me, that was my first kind of million in any sense. So I guess that was a big milestone for me to just see that kind of number. And as well in January, because this year was kind of meant to be focused on live shows for me. With just having released that mixtape, I kind of wanted to tour that around instead of releasing, a whole new project. But I had a mixtape launch for that early January as well before the mixtape came out. And that was my first time back on stage in 2.5 years. The last gig that I did before my mixtape launch was a Red Bull Music Weekend Festival. So to be back on stage 2.5 years later, that was a really like surreal moment for me as well. Just to, I worked towards having that show and making that whole mixtape, and then being able to perform that for almost a sold out crowd, and just it's even that was the first time for me having an audience know some of my lyrics and like hearing that back. Like that is like something like that was the first time I had ever experienced it, and I think that's a crazy feeling to know that other people actually know your lyrics. Like that's insane to me.
Yeah, it's wild. That's that's so cool. It all came together like that.
Yeah,
nice
like
moment.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of a, all that kind of hard work into that project. It felt like that moment was and then just getting that million a few weeks after that. It was just. It was pretty fulfilling.
Were you planning to do the rest of the East Coast or even West Coast as well? Or?
Well, for that show specifically, it was just like a launch, for the mixtape. But I did have some other festivals and things lined up, external from like a headline show lined up for the rest of the year. But obviously, as the pandemic kind of went along, things were being cancelled, things were being postponed, and that's when we could kind of tell that this year was just not happening.
It's a run-off, hey.
Yeah.
So I want to play another clip right now. This is a track called 365, and this is actually part of your For Her EP, or this mixtape. Yeah. So this is actually this one. I got this sort of like this dance video thing that you did on this one. So let's talk more about this after I play this clip. So this is 365 off the For Her mixtape. So let's check this out.
You never know it, I never show it. I keep my focus when I'm at my lowest. My mind is open. I look up to it to me. No way stressing. I'm learning lessons. I look up to the sky, know he's taking care of me. No way stressing.
Yeah, that's 365 off from the mixtape of called For Her. Of course, still Lara Andallo. Yeah, it's such a great
Galing.
way to do a
Galing.
video. Diba? Galing.
Galing, galing.
Wow. Tagalog side notes, oh. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, do you speak Tagalog? Do you understand? Do you
I
understand?
understand. I actually used to speak Tagalog before I went to school. So it was as soon as I started going to school over here in Australia that I started to lose it a bit. And because I went to a school that I learned two languages at, so I was learning Italian and Chinese. From when I was 3 years old, it was like I was learning English with these other languages, and then I was being spoken to in Tagalog at home. So like as a 3-year-old, I had all these different languages. I guess I just couldn't like juggle it all, but I definitely still understand, and my family still speak Tagalog to me. I just don't know
Yeah.
how to respond. I don't know why.
You speak in English? I know a lot of Filipino Australians where their parents talk to them in Tagalog and they reply in English.
Exactly.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, it's like I understand it when it's going in, but then when I have to say something, like everything's gone. And I think it also comes with our accent as well, like having more of an Australian accent, those different like inflections and those different ways that you say it with a Filipino accent. When we hear someone else say it, it makes sense, but then when we say it, it doesn't sound the same. So then I don't
Exactly. Yeah. Like even me with tutoring, I'm getting 3 lessons a week.
Yeah.
And it's like
Sure.
two of those lessons are just me talking to her about my day, what I'm doing, how I'm feeling, like just to get the tongue to be able to do the accents properly.
Yeah.
And structure the sentences as well. I think it's like completely different to writing or even just reading. Like talking it and conversating is like a level up. So you should join. You should join a lesson one time.
Personally, my mom's been on my back. She wants me to know. It's always like I just need to learn one Filipino song as well.
Oh yeah, I've got a few Filipino songs. I've been sending them to Alex.
Yeah.
Maybe you should try singing one. Maybe I don't know
Okay.
if you want.
Yeah, it's actually like it's I like the idea that you actually tried Boy Graduate. I mean,
You said
it's about to get there, but don't worry, it's gonna go there somewhere.
it's every one I send him. He's like, it's better. So it's like that's the main thing. Like okay, it's better. Good. Like
No, but respect you actually putting in the effort. I should definitely be doing the same thing.
I appreciate it. It's actually good because you can't like when you're writing in English, it's kind of like, oh, I can't frame it like that. But when you're writing it in your second language, it's like I can just say it directly. Like I want to say I love you. I can just say that because it sounds cool to me.
Yeah.
But like saying I love you in English is like you know, it's
That's
so cliche. Like say it in a different way, bro. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. So actually learning basic Tagalog has been so fun for me, and being able to express or even write in basic Tagalog. And if you learn a bit of Tagalog and you listen to, there's a playlist on Spotify called Tatak Pinoy, and you listen to the songs that are landing on there, it's basic Tagalog.
Right.
So yeah, there's a formula for sure for OPM. And I feel like combining that, I'm not sure of Alex's views, but combining that OPM vibe with modern culture, like I think that's something you should
I think that's recently I've noticed there's a lot of really like cool Bisaya, Tagalog lyrics that is out there that is being used in the more modern approach, and it's just like it just blows me away. Like it's like when you listen to say a Korean track and like it's like it's all well polished, but then even if you don't understand it, it's like the production is just par with what's happening globally. So I mean it's I noticed like some even like this Canadian group Manila Group, they just like they just released a single now, and there's both Tagalog and Kaya lyrics on it, or
Ah,
words. At least. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You know.
Check it out. It's a track called Blue Vegeta. And I was like so surprised that they actually, because they never did that before. I was listening to their stuff before, and I think because of them, they came to Manila for like 3 times, and I think
The
when they're
influence.
they
Yeah.
just it's sort of like, okay, let's just do that, and
Yeah.
it actually sounded different, but very very like
I could
you
say,
gotta listen.
wow. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so let's do our first like we have this segment right now called First Wave, because after that we're gonna play a track that I really really love from your catalog. Yeah, it's like one of my. I have some things to say about it later, but let's do our we call this First Wave, where we ask you everything that is firsts, right? So anything that, like, first experience, first pet, first whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll just randomly ask you now, and then just give us yeah. If you can't,
I know them.
you can say pass if it's
Hang
like
on.
So yeah, you want to do the honors, boy graduate?
Yeah. I already know the answer possibly for this one. First app you check when you wake up in the morning.
Strides.
Strides. What's
Yeah, so
that?
Strides is like a habit tracker app. So I've got like, I love how fast I was with that response.
Yeah, because you were proud. Like, it's not Instagram. It's not Instagram. Because that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I knew that. It's like a habit tracker app because I'm really on my back about just keeping myself accountable. So like for me, like I track like the amount of hours I sleep or like what time I wake up, those kinds of things.
Oh,
That's like the first thing for me. Like the
that's
first two.
awesome.
Yeah.
Take that, like, listeners. Like, yeah, stop going on that. I banned my cell phone from my room to stop scrolling on Instagram.
go.
But anyway, you can go, Alex, now.
Okay. This one I always love to ask this. What was the first concert you attended?
I love my answer. It's Beyonce. So like
Whoa.
it's a bit, yeah. So ever since
Oh.
that, it's a bit
Sarah
hard.
said that last week as well.
Huh?
There you go.
Sarah
crazy.
said that last week.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, good for them. My first concert was Barry Manilow. It's like,
Oh my mom loves Barry Manilow, so that's
yeah, I mean, I can never have a cool answer when it comes to like the first,
But now that
Okay.
Beyonce was my first, that's such a high standard of a show.
Yeah, true.
I'm sure. Okay, go, boy.
The first time you ever got drunk. Tito, you watching?
Probably that I mean, I was legal. Thank you very much. I only
Oh,
started drinking at 18 because I am a good girl.
shout out.
18.
Aquarin, same.
Yeah,
Kind of.
I'm not sure. I'm kind of doubting when you say that, man. Like, yeah. I mean, okay. So here's mine. Okay, what was the first radio appearance you had?
I love this one. It's actually at I'm pretty oh, actually no, that's a lie. My first radio appearance was actually SBS Philippines in Australia. Like they have
Yes,
they have
Filipino.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
was actually my first one when I was 17, and they let me perform like my very first song that I ever released.
Wow.
Yeah, I was actually Get a Clue if you remember that song, but that was
Yeah.
the song that I performed there. I didn't even realize that was the first one.
I listened to that podcast,
There
like
you go.
just to hear to go, because they talk about the news in Australia, yeah, and
Yeah.
just to listen to it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I just
Alright.
realized that.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah, let's do two more.
All right.
Go.
The first person you texted this morning.
I actually don't know. It would either be my cousin or one of my friends.
Oh, shout out, shout out those guys.
Okay, so my follow up to that same question, to that sort of thematic question,
Segue,
probably,
yeah.
like, the first person you text when something exciting happens.
Oh, it depends, like what kind of exciting, like career exciting or
Or music related excitement.
Mm,
I,
milestone sort of thing.
I guess technically, because I've got a family group chat, so I guess it would be that one.
All
Nice.
right.
Shout out
But
to
I usually
Familia.
say it in person though as well. If it's like something that's like exciting, I'd prefer to just tell someone like in person to get the real reaction or
Yeah.
the real support.
All right. All right. So, thank you for that round of first wave, Lara and Lara. And then right now we're gonna be listening to that favorite song of mine. Talk a bit about it, and then do our Instagram post description, which still we haven't have any name for it. You know. So yeah.
I say every week behind this pick. Why isn't that going? Why isn't that being finalized?
Obviously, someone doesn't like that idea.
Who's
man.
producing the show?
Okay. All right. So let's listen to this one. This is When the Lights Go Out, right here and behind this beat.
Baby, when the lights go out, here the sun is getting loud. Wish upon the stars tonight. That one day we can make it work. I don't wanna let it burn. We have something money can't buy. Need to let it go. Swear I'm trying to move on. But baby, when the lights go out, I'll stay up and know that I wish upon the stars tonight.
All right, that was such a yeah.
Man, I love that song.
You know the A&R in me when I do the cutting of the song and like really the gem of that particular track. You know, that
you got the
part.
moment.
You know,
Yeah.
the moment where like once you listen to that, you go like that. Oh my god.
I
You
love
know,
that.
you know, that feels about, you know. So before that, got to say hi to some peeps. There's actually a couple. Yeah, like Cloud King just gave us a heart. Claire, you got Bridget Jones. Bridget Jones. And then yeah, Doyle. You also have Zyril here. And then Daniel said, "Awesome interview, man." And then of course. Papa Graduate is always here. That's
Graduate.
Hey.
yeah,
Our
you know,
loyal viewer.
loyal viewer. Yeah. So where was I? Oh yeah. So that track, it's really like yeah, when because I already knew you from Trophy, right? So here we are waiting already for your next single, and as soon as you released that, I was like, oh my god! It was even part of the Chosen Dozen for like 1 month, right? Like we were just on there for like because we have a playlist called the Chosen Dozen, and it was just there for a month, you know, because we just love it. Like there's a listening committee on the Chosen
Yeah.
Dozen, and what we do is we just like pick the ones who are, you know, like for this week, if they're like, you know, they're newer tracks that are there, you know, gets bumped off, and then but then your that song was just like you know, everyone loved it on the listening committee of Beat This. So yeah, if you also want to shout out to like all the listeners out there who wants to listen to some new and, you know, relevant current Filipino global music, you got to go to the Chosen Dozen. That's our weekly playlist on Spotify. So yeah, tell us about a bit about that track, man, because like it has this kind of has this nostalgic feels, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
for me, even the production of it, like it really felt for me. I reference and am influenced by early 2000s R&B quite heavily. So for me, that's kind of where sonically I felt like I was being influenced by. And that song actually started as like a small idea before I left LA. Actually, I was like going to the airport, and it was like this short session that I had right before I had to go back to Sydney. Which is where I started that pre-chorus idea with this dude called Scott Effman. Shout out to Scott. And I brought that over to Australia, and I finished that up, writing it by myself. And it just felt timely to release that back in April, which is when COVID really hit over here, especially when we had our lockdowns. Because like that song is really about like those thoughts that you have when you're in your room by yourself, like when the lights go out, like. And with the situation of where we were in Australia and I guess globally, like we were all, you know, in our own little bubbles. So that it just felt right to kind of put that out at that time. Yeah.
but that song was made already before, or did you actually made that when the whole thing?
It was actually like we were wrapping up I didn't write it during COVID, but it was like wrapping up during that period. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, amazing. Okay, so we're almost actually it's almost an hour, so probably we'll just do like 3
That's
posts
cool.
right now for our Instagram, and then we'll wrap up the show. And yeah, maybe promote whatever Lara needs to promote. Okay, so let's do this behind this pic.
No, we'll find a better one. I can tell you don't like it.
Post.
Yeah, I mean, so okay, let's do this. So we're gonna look at the Instagram of Lara Andallo right now, which you can just go to at Lara Andallo on Instagram. Check out all the posts and follow her. So here, this is something that was posted around April 19. Can you see it? Yeah. So what's this all about?
Yeah, so this was just before I actually announced a live stream series, I guess, that I was starting locally within like the R&B scene over here. I'm pretty sure in the caption, yeah, I was talking about a live stream. Yeah, IG live show, because in Australia I did this R&B Girls Night In with 3 other local R&B artists here, and that's what I was promoting. But this photo was actually from my mixtape launch in January.
Where is this venue? It looks cool on the
It's
background.
actually called Frida's, and they're shutting down this month, I think next week, which sucks to hear. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so the next post will be this one. Wait, how do I do this?
Is that DJ Mowgli? Is that how you say her name?
Totally
Yeah.
made.
Shout out her. She's played me on FBI.
Yeah, and that was actually the thing when you guys were talking about the first radio. I thought it was actually when I went on to FBI, and that's when she actually became my DJ. That's what I thought was
crazy.
the SBS Philippines.
So this is
stay loyal.
this is a shot a post that you did on July 12. There's like some is it like some awards in the back
I
here?
believe they're
So
platinum plaques, yeah.
Yeah, that was at the studio in Sydney called Studios 301. That was actually one of my first sessions once that studio opened back up from our lockdown.
Whoa.
oh, okay. All right.
And you're rocking the Von Dutch as well. That's a dope brand.
You know how it is.
It's like low key.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this next one is actually, I think this was chosen by you, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, that's we were the one who chose that. So yeah, I noticed this is such a cute post. So yeah, how old were you on this one? And
Good question. I actually don't know. I think I was probably around 3 or 4. It was funny because during COVID, I was going through this hard drive with like all these old videos and photos, and I just found this one so funny. Like, what am I doing? Like, I just had my wallet. Like, what a G. And it's like that song on TikTok that was happening, Splash. Now that you know how my eyes feel, and I was like, pretty funny. Yeah, I just had to.
All right, and the last one would be your choice. Let's do this one. Okay, so what is this? So I'll play this a bit, so that everyone will see. There you go.
Best make me believe it. Best make me believe it. Believe you want to see me. Hey. Best make me.
Okay, so what were you doing here, and what is this all about?
Yeah, so that was just when Party Next Door's album just dropped, and there was this song, "Believe It." That's what it's called, right? Yeah, "Believe It," featuring Rihanna. It was like one of the first songs Rihanna's like been on in so long, and I just fell in love with this song. And shout out to Business Boy, who was actually one of the producers on the track. He's one of the homies from LA, but
wow,
yeah, I just wanted to do a cover of it, and I literally posted it, and like within 5 minutes, Party Next Door commented on that post.
Aww.
Yeah, like
whoa.
I pinned it on the comments. I don't know if you can scroll up a bit on it, or
Pin it,
I don't know. It's definitely in there. He was like one of the second comment on the whole post. And I like, yeah, it'll be there.
Right
But
there.
I fully tripped out because I was like, wait, I just posted this. Like usually, especially if it's like someone like that, it would be like from people tagging or whatever. And he was like the 10th like on the whole post or something ridiculous. And I was like, is this a fan account from
Yeah.
I lost it. So I just thought that was super dope to have that. It was interesting during COVID because I was doing a bit more like covers and I guess that was happening with COVID. Like there were more dance classes and more of this like, collaborative cover situation happening. And I was doing a bit more of that. And it was super cool to connect with more of the social media world because I felt like I had a bit of growth within that time, which I didn't see coming, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that segment called Behind This Pic. I'm still not confident, but I will try to find a title next week so that we don't have to say that again. But yeah, but it's amazing. You got to check it out. Go to at Lara Andallo, all the socials. Please follow her. Of course, we're going to recap the show right now. And thank you for the time, Lara. And all the best actually for you because like if you're like you're doing a show on December 5th, was that 15?
16.
Well, 16, yeah. Well, yeah, so it's good to see you already going out there. Good for you and good for you and everyone there. I'm
So jealous.
stuck in the house, But yeah, so tell us a bit more, like the listeners, what you're maybe invite them, social media, whatnot. We will be playing your latest single called "On My Mind" right now, which you guys definitely have to listen to this song if you're a first time listener right now or a first time viewer. Go. Yeah, like invite everyone about your like anything that's coming, promotion and all that.
Well, for me, I'm at Lara Andallo on all streaming platforms. Social media everywhere. And I guess if anyone in this live stream is from Sydney, I mean, I've got my show on December 16 at the Lansdowne. There's 2 shows. If we've got some of that Sydney crew in here, and yeah, like I'll definitely be releasing music into the new year, and there'll just be a heap of things as COVID and the pandemic kind of settle down over here. I'm really hoping to go as soon as I can go back to the Philippines. I definitely just want to connect with the scene a bit more over there and just actually get to know the scene over there, like actually.
Yeah, if you can go to Cebu, I'll definitely like show you around here, man. Like
I'm so keen. Yeah, I'm so keen to just dive into like what's going on over there.
Sounds good.
With the track called "On My Mind," maybe you can tell us about the video a bit and where it's out. Like like just maybe a shout out of people behind this single of yours.
Yeah, so this track "On My Mind" came out, I think, 3 weeks ago today, a few weeks ago. And as I mentioned earlier, like there were a lot of Filipinos actually on board for this. So for me, it'd be really cool, I think, for anyone in this live stream to check out because there's a lot of Filipino representation behind the scenes as well as on screen, which you'll definitely see. It was my it was my debut music video. So I really could show, that kind of performer in me without having these live shows happening. I really wanted to show that and that craft in this video. So if you guys have time to check out the video as well, that would be amazing. Let me know what you think. Like, always hit me up in the DMs.
Yeah, you've done a great job. It's such a dope video. I was blown away. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
wish I could dance.
We'll try to see if we could get that video on some of our partners, Mix Philippines.
Yeah. We've got some plugs here.
Yeah, because like behind this beat will be hopefully like once we're just trying to fix some technicalities, but this will be shown on Mix Philippines soon on all the things and the efforts of Beat This right now. We're actually coming up with a show for Visayas Mindanao, so watch out for that. It's Beat This Alliance now on live. It's a live session. It's sort of like a tiny desk concept now. So before Beat This Alliance was an event that we do every city. It's because of the COVID, we're doing it more on the sort of like a show online. So yeah, I mean, yeah, watch out for that. Like, make sure to follow us all on Beat This, and we'll talk more. We'll probably update you more on Lara. On just visit beatthisph.com for more information on all things Lara and Andallo as well, because like we're gonna be having articles about you soon. That's gonna be, Cam's gonna write about this whole experience. And yeah, again, Lara, I've been saying it like differently a while ago. It's Andallo, right? It's not Andallo.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Andallo.
kind of, especially over in Australia, people say it. I've grown up hearing it said so many different ways as well, and I'm sure that and I say it probably with more of an Australian accent as well. So
I feel like the tone of that Andallo, because like I did say that before the first time I saw it, but I wasn't really sure. So but yeah, Lara Andallo is our guest, and thank you very much for the time, Lara. Like our support will always be here for you if you need anything from the Philippines. Yeah, just message us. Your label is our label as well. So
no, it was just really cool to have like this like longer, in-depth conversation, because I feel like when you are a developing artist, you don't really get the chance to have more open conversations that aren't just like straight to the point. Getting those things out. So thank you for like giving me the time and the chance to get that out.
Our pleasure.
All right, so
and we're family, of course. So
Always.
I'll see you around for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we just want to say bye. We'll just we'll just recap the show. Just want to say goodbye to Lara. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Paalam. Ingat.
Ingat. All right, that was Lara Andallo, and of course, it's amazing to talk to her. Now we know more about her. Actually, we got some info. The juicy stuff, man, like the stuff that we need to know about this artist, because like people here aside from the music needs to know her story, because like it's such an amazing she's such an amazing artist. I think she needs to be heard here as well in the Philippines, and I think it will it's happening already because of the connections that we got right now with her. And yeah, so thanks again. I mean, I'd like to thank you, man, because you're the one who actually like sort of told me about her,
Yeah. No, my pleasure. Yeah, it's felt right, of course, given her talent.
So anyways, before we go, you have any shout outs or anything that you'd like to say before we go?
I wanna shout out this shirt that I'm wearing right now. My Buhai. He was tuned in before. I'm not sure if he is. This is Cloud King's label from Cebu.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Shout out to Buhai.
Yeah, we need to have Cloud King here too on the show soon. Yeah, so
we do.
Yeah. Also, I'm wearing a local cap as well. This is Strap.
I love Strap.
Yeah.
And also, I want to shout out my bro from Melbourne, Magic Man, Mark Schlieb, Filipino boxer. He's a crazy boxer. Follow him on magicman_1000. He's got a fight coming up on the December 11th. So if you're Pinoy, all Pinoys love boxing. So if you want to get behind a local Melbourne boxer who's coming up, he just got sponsored by Adidas Sports. So he really is awesome. One to reckon with. So shout out him, and also shout out our little hats here, the Beat This hats. I'm pretty sure you can get them on the website,
Yeah, and I just want to also shout out like Chris Rubio. I think he's an artist. He just like commented like another Filipino in the house, y'all. There you go.
Yo, Chris. Yay.
All right, so I guess that's us. And then for more information on anything we do, just go to beatthisph.com. This is the future sound of the Philippines. Thank you very much. My name is Fatboy Lim.
And this is Boy Graduate.
And this is Behind This Beat. We're out, and we're leaving you with a track from Lara Andallo. This is On My Mind right here on Behind This Beat. Bye-bye.